Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today we are going to be talking about how to write when you would just rather be doing anything else. Cue intro. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about how to write when you are just not feeling like writing for whatever reason. You found the time, which is a totally separate issue, and maybe a totally separate video here soon, but you found the time, but you just don't have the motivation for whatever reason that might be. For me personally, it's usually because I am starting my writing at, if I'm lucky, it's about 10 after I'm done for the day, done working my full-time job from the day, taking care of my son after he comes home, playtime, dinner time, bath time, bedtime, and then it's writing time. And usually at that point, I'm kind of tired and would rather just veg out in front of the TV. But if you are like me and you have a full-time job, or if you have a family, or if you have any combination thereof, we usually do not have an ideal writing routine. My ideal writing routine would be to write late, but then also get to sleep in late and make up for that time I'm not sleeping. But that is not feasible for me, so we just kind of have to work around that. So I'm going to give you 5 tips / strategies to try when you hit your writing time, but you don't feel like writing. All right, so number 1 is just start by either setting a small timer or setting a small word count goal. So a lot of writers utilize what we call writing sprint, which is where you set a timer for a certain amount of time, usually anywhere between 10 and 25 minutes. Anything over 25 is actually a little bit long because it lets your mind wander too much, and we don't want our minds wandering. We want our minds focusing on writing. So I find 10 to 20 usually works best for me. 25 is actually pushing it, and then my little brain starts to wander. But that's kind of the sweet spot for me. So you might have to try this several times at different lengths to find your sweet spot. So what you do if you don't feel like writing, set that timer, tell yourself, hey, I'm only going to write for 15 minutes, and then, I can be done. And usually what happens is you get into the groove during that 15 minutes, and you're like, oh, hey, that wasn't so bad. I got a lot of work done. Let's do another 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden, you've done an hour of writing, in small chunks, basically. And you can actually, so this is actually called the Pomodoro technique, where you basically work in a small chunk and then take a break, and then work and then take a break. And you can actually use that for a lot of different things in your life. I use it for like cleaning tasks as well, because I don't want to do those. So I tell myself, okay, clean 20 minutes and then you can take a break. So that's typically will usually get me in the groove. And then if it doesn't, if your 15 minutes are up and you're like, still just not feeling it, you've at least worked for 15 minutes and gotten more words than you had the day before. You could also set a small, if you didn't want to do time, you could set a small word count goal, like, anywhere between 100 to 500 words. And you say, I'm just, let me get 200 words and then I'll be done. That's still 200 more words than you had the day before. So, we're just looking for progress, however big or small that might be. And usually, if I do a sprint and I'm like really close, I sprint, maybe you get like 250, 300 words in your first sprint, and you're like, well, that wasn't so bad. I can get 500 words. And then you're building this momentum. The idea is to build momentum and get you in to that work headspace. And then I can usually get, an hour or 2 of work done. Once I've actually, starting is the hardest part. So once you get over that hump of starting, you're usually going to be able to snowball that into a good work night. So my second tip is to create a reward system. And for this to work, you usually have to know yourself pretty well. Reward systems don't always work for me because I tend to reward myself before I've hit the mark I'm supposed to get that reward for. If that makes sense. I'm not really big on the whole delayed gratification thing, which is weird why I became a writer, because there's no instant gratification in writing, like, at all. The rewards don't always work for me, but they do, they do sometimes. You could do rewards for words met. You could do a small reward system. So for every 500 or for every 1,000 words you write, you get, something small, whatever you like. For me, that would probably be like planner stickers or something like that. Or maybe for a night, you've got some like little bite-sized candy or something, and every 500 words you get to eat a piece of candy. You could also use TV and shows. So, once you get your work done for the night, reward yourself with watching a new episode of your favorite TV show, or a movie you might be wanting to watch. You could also do, just spontaneous rewards. So during Nano last year, a book came out that I really wanted to buy, but I wasn't, supposed to be spending money on books. But I was like, okay, 3,000 word. If I get a 3,000 word day, I get to buy this book. Well, I did hit the 3,000 word day, and then I bought my book. So that was fun. So you don't have to have a strict system, but you could use rewards, just to get a big workout day, or to finish your project. If you're on the home stretch of your project and you just need that little extra boost, maybe you think of something you've been wanting to purchase or something that you've wanted to do. It doesn't have to be like a purchase item. It could be an activity, COVID safe, of course, but it could be an activity, or, something you've wanted to go out and do, and not necessarily something, a physical thing that you buy. But like I said, for rewards to work, you really kind of have to know yourself, and if you're able to hold off rewarding yourself until you've actually met your reward goal. That's the hardest part. Next up, tip number 3. This might sound a little strange. I wasn't sure of a better way to word it, but this one is called threats and or bargaining. So this is where I have a conversation with myself. I have this time, and I have to do something. So I tell myself, you either have to go write, or you have to fold this basket of laundry. You have to go write, or you have to do the dishes. And usually that works because I'm getting something done. If I don't feel like writing, then at least I'm getting a chore done. And if I don't feel like doing chores, at least I'm getting writing done. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is to go ahead and skip whatever part you're working on and move forward and write something fun or something that you've been looking forward to. Sometimes you just get stuck, and the easiest way to get unstuck is to move forward. Put a little bracket there and put insert more here, and then, go on. Just leave it. And you can handle it in second draft. That's why we have second drafts and third drafts. That's why we have beta readers. That's why we have editors, because we do not have to get it perfect the first time. So don't agonize over making it perfect the first time, because you can always come back and fix it. So if you're stuck, or if you're not motivated to write, go to a scene that you're really excited about. You do not have to write in chronological order. You can skip around and come back and do your transition scenes later. Go to the fun fight scene, go to the fun, meet cute, go to the makeout scene, go to the sex scene, go to something that makes you excited to sit down and write when you're feeling uninspired and unmotivated. All right. And then my last tip, number 5, is give yourself permission to take a break. If you are miserable and it is giving you anxiety, and you're like, just would rather, I don't know, do literally anything, wash the baseboards or something rather than write, that might be your brain telling you, hey, we need a break. We need to refill the well. The best thing I ever did for my process was recognize that I did need to stop and take breaks in order to be more productive. If I kept pushing and pushing and pushing without getting anything done, then I started feeling guilty about not getting anything done, and that just builds and builds and builds until, I'm basically frozen and I don't have anything to write. I can't think of anything to write because I've just, guilted myself into this headspace. And the best thing for me is to not ever get to that headspace, because I'm listening to myself and I'm listening to my brain and what I need as a person. And that might be, listening to my creativity, and that might be taking a break. So if you're at that breaking point and, nothing's coming, and now you're guilting yourself because nothing's coming, give yourself permission to take a break. Watch a TV show that you've been wanting to watch, read a book you've been wanting to read. Let that creativity simmer, and it will come back. It always comes back. It might take a couple of days, but it always comes back. And I always find if I don't try to warp my process and make myself into the kind of writer that I'm just not naturally am, I write better and more often if I'm working with my creativity instead of against it. So those are my 5 tips for getting started when you just would rather not. If you liked this video, I would like you to hit like or subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when I have new videos. Would also love to hear from you in the comments below. If you have any strategies that have been working for you when you're feeling unmotivated to write, or if you have something that wasn't necessarily on my list that you would like to share. Anyway, that's it for today, and I hope to see you around next time. Bye!